Why isn't Jhin in Teamfight Tactics? Now this is kind of a part 2 to the Jinx video we did on Wednesday, because I kind of promised I would make a Jhin version. They share some parallels, but also some differences that I think worth noting. But more importantly, there's also a tweet by Riot Magic that reads like this: "We'll have about 50 champions at launch. We're planning on bringing out more champs as time goes on, and we'd love to hear your ideas." So they do want to hear your feedback, and since Jhin didn't make it in as well, Jhin players watching this video, feel free in the comment section down below to of course give your feedback about what you think Jhin could do if he was in Teamfight Tactics as we go along with this video. So of course, if you end up liking this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, follow the Twitter, the Twitch, and let's just jump into the video. So first and foremost, one of the things we talked about in the Jinx video was just some of the basic rundowns about the game, how it works in AD carries and stuff like that. So one of the things to note is that there are a lot more classes than there are in League of Legends, right? In League of Legends, it's like, assassins, mages, tanks, bruisers, AD carries, supports. That's kind of really it. In Auto Chess, their game, Teamfight Tactics, right? There's a lot more classes, and a lot more champions fall into mostly 2 classes. So there's, rangers, gunslingers that are kind of usually the AD carry classes, but there's like demons, nobles, knights, glaciers, elementalists, there's dragons. Some people just kind of have their own role, like Blitzcrank, he's just the only robot right now because there's no Orianna, stuff like that. So first and foremost, that's one thing to note, because even AD carries like Varus fall under actually like the demon role as one of his 2 roles. So you don't necessarily have to just be a gunslinger ranger if you are an AD carry. And this is kind of going to be important for Jhin specifically later on because of his play pattern, and he's kind of like, as TACOS said, an oddball out kind of a champion. He's an oddball champion. It's fine, but that also means he might be a bit different than even the solutions we came up with for Jinx. So secondly, the way Auto Chess works, in case you're kind of curious, you kind of draft all these champions from these different categories, and you kind of, want to combine like categories and stuff like that. If you get like a bunch of Yordles, for example, you get a perk for at least 3 or more Yordles where your team might take 20 to 50% more chances of enemy attacking just missing you, so you can kind of be like pseudo invulnerable suddenly in the middle of a fight. You don't control your champions, they're automatically going out and fighting and auto attacking and stuff, and that's the kind of strategy there, is you're trying to set up these different combinations based off of like champion categories and such like that. Also items, when you randomly get items, you can equip them to certain champions and then get certain things like Zephyr's back, and that kind of knocks a random champion up at the beginning of a fight and maybe takes them out the fight so your team can jump people easier, stuff like that. You have multiple assassins, they do bonus damage. There's like a lot of different combinations you can do with like knights, nobles, and stuff like that as well. So with all that covered, and with that kind of covered how the gameplay kind of works a little bit, the thing about Jinx and how we solved Jinx's issue is one of the solutions we came up with was, well, hey, what if she can't use, AoE? Because AoE seemed to be kind of a thing that might have dictated who made it in the initial roster or not. A lot of champions in this game kind of have AoE abilities if they do something else first, because AoE can be super powerful and turn a team fight, and if you can use that out the gates, it seems like it'd be too powerful. So what they did is like Aatrox, for example, with his 3rd Q, he has to attack a couple of times first before he gets to slam that sucker down and possibly hit like 3 or more enemies with that ability. Or even Static Shiv the item, right? Like you have to attack a few times if you have it before you can actually use the Static Shiv proc. There are several champions that do have like AoE abilities in the game, don't get me wrong, it's just like they have to attack first before they get to use it. So also, champions usually have like 1 ability, at least at the start. You can have a champion up to 3 stars, which means if you're getting random champions at the bottom there, right, like you use your gold between turns to spend it getting more champions or leveling yourself up so you can put more units on the board. You start out with 3, but you can get up to like 9, it's pretty great. One of the things you could do is get like 3 of a champion, and that's how you make them a 2-star version of the champion, which is stronger. And then you get a 3-star, which they're clad in gold and stuff, and it's pretty cool. That being said, at the beginning though, the 1-star like level, they only have 1 ability they can use. So like Varus, for example, he auto attacks and he can use his Q. His Q can hit multiple people, it can pierce the multiple people, but that's it, right? Like Darius has his Q as well, which he swings that around. He has to attack a few times first. Other champions like Lissandra, Leona, they use their ultimates and stuff like that. Braum has his shield actually to kind of reduce some damage and stuff like that and be tanky. There's different things you can do within the champions, and then like we mentioned earlier, the categories, like multiple glacial champions to multiply stun people beyond the ultimates and stuff like that. It's actually pretty cool. But Jhin and how he might work in the, this kind of like field of, well, maybe the AoE is gated, you have 1 ability, what do you do with Jhin, right? Like what ability do you choose? With Jinx, what we decided to do, one of the solutions I was kind of briefly mentioning was, maybe you don't use the rocket launcher at all. It's just minigun, and her thing is she's the fastest DPSing AD carry in the game right now. Or at least if she was in the game. And maybe her ability instead would be the Super Mega Death Rocket. if an enemy's low after you've been attacking a lot, you can actually fire that bad boy off and try and, like, you know, nuke somebody with it. Maybe it does AoE, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But that might be the solution to go with there and make that her identity amongst the other AD carries that already kind of exist in the game, like Vayne, Draven. I guess Tristana's kind of there. She's a thing, but I think Draven's the hotness right now anyways. Tristana's like the opposite. She's the coldness, I guess. But anyways, right? Like, if that's the case, that was our solution for Jinx. Jhin obviously works pretty differently, right? Like, he has the reload mechanic, and even though all those AD carries mentioned before have like a certain ability they use, they're always auto-attacking. Everyone's always auto-attacking. So for Jhin to have a reload mechanic, he would kind of have to work a bit differently, right? And when I mean auto-attacking, I mean like they're automatically attacking with something. Not everyone's necessarily like, you don't have a Ryze who's just like flinging like his auto-attacks and never using anything ever. He's not actually in the game, I don't think. But like if he was, like that's not what I meant, by the way. Let me clarify that. But what I mean is there's really no downtime. A lot of champions are always doing something, and Jhin would be a champion that would have downtime, which could be an issue. So real quick, I'm going to run a conversation from IKeepItTaco's stream when I asked him about, you know, Jhin, and then some people had conversation about it in general. Credit to him, link in the description below. Make sure to check him out. He's a Grandmaster Jhin player. He'll probably be hitting Challenger by the time this video goes up. So here we go.
If Jhin was in the game, what class do you think he would be?
Wait, you have a hacked account LOL in your Discord?
I don't really know. I don't really think there's like a class for him right now.
Taco is just straight up streaming. Emily has screen share on Discord.
Oh yeah, the fake stream.
Gunslinger.
She's streaming IRL.
I mean, I guess Gunslinger, but like it wouldn't
like
really fit his
Oh, Hopper's streaming.
Does it like
I'm debating
Assassin? Honestly, I don't think he'd be an assassin. Like, he is an assassin in the lore, but when you look at actual assassins in the game, it doesn't make sense for him to be there. AB Phantom? Honestly, what's the demon? What's the demon trait? I need to see. Oh, he has a rage blade already. Yeah, I'll give him the rage blade. I need to sell him later to retrieve the rage blade and put it on someone else. He literally described Club. No, dude. Club Penguins don't have penguins. This cute, dude. Look at him. Look at him, dude. See, you can't do that in Club Penguin. Maybe in its own class, probably.
Yeah, so
like
they
said they're gonna be adding more champions and classes in the future, so maybe something can fit for Jhin, but I don't know. Jin's kind of weird. He's legit.
The Ash one.
He's legit an oddball champion.
So one of the solutions for Jhin that was interesting that came up in the conversation was maybe Jhin just has his own category, like Blitzcrank does, right? Because maybe, depending on the ability you choose, let's say you choose the bouncing grenade, what you do is you make it so after he hits that fourth shot, he'll throw out the bouncing grenade while he reloads. Now granted, not quite the way it works on the Rift, but this is a game that's different from the Rift. Another thing you could consider is, like Jinx, if her identity was going to be the fastest DPSing in the game, maybe Jin's is the hardest hitting DPS, even though he'll have that missing time while he's reloading. Now granted, he would also still need an ability, right? The fourth shot can't count as his ability, so he would still get something like the bouncing Q or the ultimate or something like that to go with it, but maybe that's his thing, right? Like he attacks, and the fourth shot hits like a truck, and then he has to reload. But that's like his contribution if you want to go for like a Jhin quote-unquote composition, is he's going to be attacking a lot less because he has to reload and stuff. He only has the 4 shots, but they're going to hurt a whole heck of a lot. And so it's going to be worth getting him because you're going to still basically be on par with damage as other people. With that being said, right? Like maybe that's kind of the thing, right? Like maybe a Tristana would have to attack this target 10 times. You only have to attack it 4 times. But of course, like you're reloading while she's also doing like finishing her 10 attacks. So in a 1v1, it's a lot closer than it would seem on maybe paper or with me saying it out loud like that, right? And again, he would have like the bouncing grenade or his ultimate, so maybe while he's reloading, he ults or something, right? Like, I don't know exactly how that would work, because like things like Kennen and stuff have their ultimates too, and they kind of just use it eventually during a team fight if they don't get popped immediately. So first and foremost, the thing we have to figure out, what class would Jhin be in? Would he just be a gunslinger ranger, or is this playstyle a bit too differently, like Taco said, a bit of an oddball of a playstyle to actually put him in those categories, and he'd have to be, even if it was an already existing category, something different, like more of a, like maybe a gunslinger could work, like a spell slinger caster kind of a thing, or would he just get his own role because he's just so kind of unique as an AD carry in this space? 2, what would his ability be, right? Like maybe some of you are like, I actually would think the E would be a cool ability to use. So like he could throw out the E or something to try and like catch people, or throw out the W, literally try and snare people with it, right? Like, or something like that. Like maybe that would be cool. Since stuns are a thing in the game, it would definitely make him not like a ranger, like gunslinger though. He would definitely have to fall into another category. Doesn't mean you can't do it, right? Like, you can do whatever you want. This is just feedback for them to consider. Nothing's set in stone. I'm not like working at Riot secretly trying to feed them information off of you guys. I'm just giving you kind of like the structure for the skeleton to put this together to give them, so it can be like, hey, a lot of people really want Jhin, it seems, actually. If we're going to be releasing more champions anyways, what can we do about Jhin? Can we go bouncing grenade and bounce off of multiple people after like several auto attacks? Like maybe he has to go through several rotations of reloading before using the ability, or maybe, like I said, maybe it's just a 4th shot. Maybe the first 3 shots hit the same as everyone else's, but the 4th shot hits a whole heck of a lot because of missing health, stuff like that. Again, off the top of my head, based off of playing this game now, a couple dozen games, I feel like he would possibly have to fall into his own category. Because like even Assassin wouldn't be correct. Thematically, it might actually fit a bit, because like in his lore and stuff, he kind of assassinated some people, right? Like even in the previews, right? Like Vi, Sona, Zed, and whoever the heck the other one, I think it was Garen, they got, right? Like he assassinated them. So, but I don't think like assassinating gunslinger is a thing that kind of works. So I feel like you'd have to go something else, right? I feel like that wouldn't necessarily... Ranger gunslinger? Like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not quite sure. In the comment section down below, though, this is a conversation we can all have together. So that would be my kind of direction I think I might go, is I think he has to be his own category. And I think I would go for the ultimate, because a lot of people put their 80 carries in the back anyway. So unless he gets jumped by assassins like immediately, he would have the setup to actually be able to ult sometimes, unlike maybe in the current meta on the Rift, where it feels like if I ult right now, I'm just getting jumped and that's kind of it. You can kind of build team, again, you can build team comps around people, so maybe you have some things to protect the Jhin, so you can ult. And again, that's also then while he's not auto-attacking, right? Like, so there are things like that. You could build static shiv, rapid fire cannon on him, extend his range, yes, expand his range. It could be cool, right? Like, so in the comment section down below, let's have a conversation about that. But thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next, because I've been having a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care. ggGetJinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.